Welcome all to the Experience Point. Today, I am joined by a special guest. Well, you're not a guest anymore.
Yeah, no,
You're not a
I am
guest. You're
officially a
permanent.
part of ZeroHp. It's going to be technically my first video on board working with the team, so I'm super stoked to get started talking and talk about some Star Wars Battlefront.
Star Wars Battlefront. Is it good? Is it bad? Obviously, it's just the beta, so we're not going to know until November 17th when it comes out. However, we have plenty of thoughts just from the hours that we just spent playing that beta. So stick around. We're going to throw some footage up, some really epic Star Wars Battlefront footage while we kind of go over everything. So we're glad you're joining us here on the Experience Point. Okay, so Star Wars Battlefront Beta, we played. How much did you play it?
I played it for maybe 3 or 4 hours, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much the same neighborhood, somewhere in that range. Pretty much all last weekend. I played it in like segments. I'd just be sitting around like, I'll play Battlefront. And pick up for an hour, something like that. So that could be something the game could actually be, where you just pop Battlefront in for a couple hours and then turn it off, kind of thing. Because I feel like, well, just give me your overall. We'll get into details, but just after your 4 or 5 hours of playing, it's done now. The beta's done. It's coming out in a month, so they can't change that much. What are you feeling? How are you looking at this release coming up, and what do you feel about the game overall based on that beta?
So, just kind of my overall impressions from the beta. I thought it was really fun. Me being like a really hardcore Star Wars fan, I mean, we're both really hardcore Star Wars fans.
Big time, yeah.
But just from playing it, I had a good amount of fun with it. I'd say I wasn't like, playing it, hours on end. I'd play it for maybe 2 hours and then switch over to Metal Gear Solid 5 again. But while I was playing it, I had a decent amount of fun. It's nice to pop in a nice first person shooter and just play it for a bit.
Yeah.
It does have some issues with it. As far as beta goes, I feel like sometimes it can get kind of boring. How stale will it get in the future? But overall, I'd say I'm a little bit in both categories, like and dislike. So
yeah,
we'll get more into detail with it. But what about you?
Yeah, I mean, just right as you said, kind of both. I mean, you're still kind of riding the fence with it. I think I remember thinking this to myself, kind of when I was about done playing it, was based on what I played, it's better than I'd expected, but it's also worse than I'd hoped.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not the penultimate Star Wars Battlefront that we've all wanted.
Right.
Like, I can already tell you it's not going to be, probably. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say that because we need to play the full game first.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me. They're saying beta, but it comes out on November 17th. We're recording this on Friday the 16th. It just shut down this morning.
Yeah.
They're not changing anything in a month's time.
No.
Maybe the spawn points, which we'll get into that later. But we're not going to see any wholesale changes except for maybe down the line. So to call it a beta, I think really what they're doing is testing the servers, which were excellent. I had never got disconnected.
Yeah, one thing I was going to say was that I didn't experience any long load times, any kind of frame loss or lagging. I did play it on Xbox One. So
Same here. That's right. I was going to say we probably tell them what we played.
As a disclaimer, yeah, I played it on Xbox One and didn't experience any kind of lag or issues with that as far as that goes.
No, neither did I. I had some weird, and this may have just been me or I don't know if it was internet or what, but I had some weird screen tearing at times where the ground would look like it would bend and come up with me into the sky for a second and then pull back down into correct frame.
Wow.
But other than that, just talking about some good things, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It is.
It's amazing. It might be one of the prettiest games of this generation.
Yeah, and I think this is probably where we'll move into some of our positives of kind of what we thought. But I totally agree, man. The visuals were spot on, and even from just the trailers, you were expecting it to look amazing. Just Hoth in general, probably one of the most, if not the most iconic Star Wars planet. Yeah. It just looked it looked beautiful. I remember one time in particular, I was down in like the trenches, when I was fighting.
As a rebel?
Yeah, as a rebel, exactly. And
you rebel scum.
I know. You should all be rebels.
No.
But I remember one time in particular, I was like crouching down, and I actually got killed because I was looking at how good the snow particle effects looked. I was just like, wow, oh wow.
And they leave footprints.
They do, yeah.
They leave live footprints. I don't know how long. I didn't stick around to see how long they'd last.
Yeah.
But I had some, of my Imperial snowtroopers going to kill rebel scum, hunt them down,
low blow.
like the bantha fodder they are. And the troops in front of me, they were leaving actual boot marks in the snow as they were running. It was really just the smallest detail like that makes all the difference in the world.
They did great attention to detail.
Yeah, really nice. And that's the thing, they said that going into like the production of the game, where they had unlimited access to the vaults of like all of these incredibly high res photos. So they recreated everything we've seen from those films. Perfectly. Everything is perfect.
All the really cool Star Wars sounds are there. I was gonna say the TIE Fighter, whatever it is, like blasting by.
Great.
It was awesome. But that's another thing that we can move into too. The sound is really good. Like we were talking about, they have all the vault of the Star Wars sounds, whether it be the lightsabers clashing when Luke and Vader are kind of going at it. Sounded really good. The noises, the walking mix, the
and they brought Ben Burtt, the creator of most of those sound effects that you hear.
That they did.
They brought him on as like a reference guy. Which, it's great. I'm glad that they took the time to make the sounds, but at the same time, they didn't make them. They just imported them in.
Yeah.
You better not mess that up when you have them already.
It's a very hard thing to mess up. That's for
firing that E11 Stormtrooper blaster, just that... It's so...
That was a good sound effect.
You can just... I know, I'm pretty good at that kind of stuff, actually. But I don't know. It comes from years of practice of playing as a kid.
That's true.
I practiced my... oh, man. I love that shit. But all the sounds are right on. Looks great. I think visually the only negative that I saw were the hero... Vader and Luke... They look like mannequins to me. They're really stiff. I don't know if you noticed that or...
They definitely do. I will say Vader plays a little bit better than Luke does. Luke is definitely like, you're jumping all over the place, and it just looks really wonky, I guess, when he's running. He's kind of like had this weird running stance. But yeah, it definitely felt very weird. Puppet-like.
Yeah, just compared to how fluid and beautiful... Like, the animations for the regular soldiers are... fantastic. They look so good. The armor on the stormtroopers moves a little bit, and it looks really good. So it's just kind of shocking to see Luke running around like his like biceps are locked into place. He's like swinging around. It just looks weird. I don't know. Maybe they can. I don't know. They won't be able to fix that. That's the thing. That's not something you fix in a month.
Yeah.
So those are some little weird things, but we'll see how that goes.
One thing I really want to talk about too is like how good the shooting feels. Like,
oh yeah,
for some reason,
it's dice.
Yeah, definitely. When you're as opposed to playing a game like Call of Duty or something where you're shooting like an M4 assault rifle, but for some reason, just the shooting felt so gratifying as far as like shooting the laser rifles go. They were just super great to handle, and I don't know why. It just had like a great feel to it, a great weight. There's like just the right amount of recoil. I don't know. I really liked it.
Yeah, me too. I loved it. It actually felt kind of like the previous like original Battlefronts by Pandemic.
Yeah.
In the sense that, you don't need to be like in Halo. If you have a battle rifle, you need to hit him in the head.
Yes.
Without aiming down the scope. Like that's how you use it. And once you figure it out, you're good. And it takes some skill, which is not a bad thing at all. But this is a more casual game, and again, I'm not even using that as a bad way. It's a Star Wars game. I want my 13-year-old nephew to be able to pick the game up and play and be competitive. I'm okay with it being casual.
Right.
But you see someone and you just start just hammering the trigger, and then just go down, and it's cool. It's just very frantic, and the shooting is perfect. Like you said, the recoil is perfect.
I was gonna say one thing that One thing I kind of noticed too, did you ever find yourself like trying to reload even though you couldn't reload?
Yeah, I was like, where the hell is the reload
Because usually when I play FPS, like my mode of attack is I'll shoot and kill one guy, and then as soon as I'm done with that, I'll reload.
Yep.
But like I would go to like press the trigger or whatever to reload, and I'm like, oh, this is a laser gun.
Yes.
It doesn't have bullets.
Yep. All it does is overheat, and then you shake your hand like, that hurt.
Yeah, it reminds me of like Halo with the...
plasma rifle.
That's right, plasma rifle.
Beep, 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 beep. There's like beeping, and you're like sitting there having to shake the steam out of it. Yeah.
It was awesome.
So that's really cool, and there was some other... You had that one rifle, that it was like a projectile, like almost like the... what the Tusken Raiders use.
Yes.
You can get that. I got killed by that a lot.
Yeah.
From out of nowhere.
It's fun to use, too. That's one thing I like, too, is when you unlock... You're talking about the sniper rifle.
It's like a sniper rifle, yeah, but it's like a projectile weapon. It's not laser. You actually load it.
Because you have to... After you're done shooting it, you have to let it kind of reload.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was super nice. I got killed by that plenty of times as well. So.
Yeah, definitely. So that was, the core shooting, again, something I never expected the DICE could fuck up anyways. Battlefield has always felt really good as a first-person shooter. I've always preferred it over like Call of Duty and stuff. So
Agreed.
I've always liked that. So they nailed that. We know they nailed that. We kind of covered. It's just a great for Star Wars fans. It's a great game. It looks beautiful, and you can fly in X-wings and TIE fighters, and it's pretty. It's
got that good fan appeal.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely, it really does. Speaking of flying in TIE fighters and X-wings, here's a segue for you, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What was it?
As far as flying goes, I actually made a video about this a while ago on my regular channel, but one of the things that I was kind of dicey about, if you will, is the flying, because I'd heard a lot of reports that a lot of people that had like beta tested it even before 9 million people did, that they said that the flying was kind of wonky, it was hard to control, and that was kind of one of the things I was worried about, was because one, we don't have any space battles in this game, so you're expecting the flying that we do have to feel really nice and really gratifying. So I was kind of already worried, like, oh, well, there's no space battles, they better get the on-planet flying well.
Right.
So, yeah, I found it wasn't that bad, actually. I think there's still room for improvement, but it definitely felt really good. As far as that goes, you can definitely fly well on it, so that's
you can hop right. I mean, it's good in the sense that the very first time I picked up a TIE fighter and popped a TIE fighter boner, which I totally did. I freaked out like a little kid. I was in a TIE fighter. And I didn't, immediately crash. It's much easier than Battlefield.
Yeah. Trying
to fly a damn helicopter without wrecking into the nearest building.
Yes.
While your guys are trying to get out. I mean, so it's more accessible. The one stick is a little unnatural to me.
I agree.
I feel like there was a couple times where I was like, okay, I want to turn left. I'm going to bank left in the TIE fighter. And I'd go in the upper left stick and go left, and nothing happened. And it's up and down and left and right, all with the right analog stick, which is a little weird for me, but not bad necessarily. It's something you got to get used to.
Definitely.
And I got used to it pretty quick. And I was like, just following around the TIE fighters. And then the only negative I would say with the flying would be that I think you go a little too quick for the size of the map.
Yeah.
Because I'm like basically constantly just turning. I'm always turning. Because if you go straight for more than 5 or 6 seconds, you're almost on the border of the map, and you have to flip around. And
you do that Star Fox thing where as soon as you reach the the 1 mile of the map, you have to flip up and turn upside down. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And so it kind of forces all of the fighters to be right in on top of everything. And, if you don't crash into a mountain first because you're a noob, then you're just like constantly, and you're shooting everything and there's just lasers and then you die. You're like, whoa, okay, all right, well, I guess I'm back on the ground now.
Yeah.
But, again, things that can be ironed out in time and better than we thought.
Yeah.
Based on what we had heard from people who got to play it first.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a relief. I did get to have, oh, God, EA keeps calling them battle fantasies. Stop. That's their marketing.
What?
Yes, that's their marketing
I
term.
did not hear about this.
It's all throughout E3. And not only is the battle fantasies just sounds bad anyways, but on top of that, this poor woman, because she doesn't, her first language is not English, and she's the presenter. And so she comes. She's working at DICE, and she comes up and she's bringing up the game, and she's like, "You will be able to fulfill all of your Star Wars battle fantasies." And that's like, oh my god, this is a terrible. And I just thought that was her.
Yeah.
But then when you open the beta, it goes, "Come to live all your Star Wars battle fantasies."
That is terrible.
Oh, it's awful. It's so bad. Anyways, I just remembered that right now when I was, because I was kind of going to say that. That's what brought up. I was thinking I did get to have my battle fantasy flying a TIE fighter, and it worked out pretty well.
And many more to come.
And so the only other thing that, what did you think about like the inventory system and like the loadouts? There's no classes. Mm-hmm. So it's a class, right. So you can just kind of pick like a la carte once you've earned certain things. What was your impression on that whole?
I really liked it. I thought it was a creative way to do like a loadout system, other than say like a Battlefield or Call of Duty might have done it, where you're not just like constantly leveling up and then you unlocked this rifle and this pistol. It was like you would get this card, and then from that card you could kind of change your loadout from there to get like different grenades and different weapons, like the one we were talking about earlier with the beam rifle that was kind of like a sniper-ish kind of thing. That was kind of cool, the way you could customize it. I remember my loadout for the game when I was playing was I had the thermal detonators, and then I had that beam rifle, and I just thought it was a great idea. I didn't level up other than that to get to that loadout, but as far as that goes, I really like the way the loadout system is done.
I like it too.
It's creative, and as far as customization goes, I think that's a really cool idea, I like that, DICE is making it so you're not pigeonholed into one class, you're not like a big bulky...
everyone running around as snipers kind of a thing.
Yeah, or like you're a stereotypical light machine gun guy with like, he's just really buff, and it was cool. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. Here I come. I'm just the negative Nancy here. I do like it. This is a small thing for me, but playing the game, because it's so pretty, I want the most minimal HUD as possible. And I felt like those cards took up like 25% of the screen. They're really fucking big.
They are. I will agree with you there.
And I know you want to be able to see it and access it and know what you're looking at, so it's no problem. It's not like not a huge thing, but it was really big. It's kind of like a lot of HUD. It's kind of a busy HUD. So I wish I can get some of that, I don't know, make that a little smaller because it's so big. But I do like it's kind of like that card system. So, visualize what you have and you can switch out and experiment with the different things and the jetpacks and stuff.
Yes.
Were cool. So that was a lot of fun. I like that a lot. Now, I know we kind of touched on their animations, but how do you feel overall, good and bad, about what little we got of the hero system? Like on Hoth.
The hero system I thought was cool. Obviously, the only ones that we got to try out as far as the beta goes was Luke and Vader.
Right.
So my impressions of them, I definitely liked playing Vader a lot more than I did Luke.
Yes. Just
for one, his animations were a little bit more fluid than Luke's was. And this is coming from like the biggest Luke fan ever. Like, he's my favorite Star Wars character, bar none, in the entire universe. And I found that sometimes when I was playing him, I just didn't have as much fun as when I was Vader and just walking around cutting people down.
Yeah.
Definitely think that there's room for improvement there, but with a month left to go and the release, it's not probably going to happen. No. So, maybe I'll feel differently about it when the game comes out, but right now, Vader was the best part. The soldiers are actually the rebels and
Imperials. Those are the best part, right?
Yeah, they were good. The animations were good for them. I mean, I had no gripes with that. So, but other than that, the hero ones were.
They had a terrible voice actor for Vader. It's amazing. He sounded like David Prowse, the original man who physically played him.
Yeah.
I remember there was one time where I got like 3 straight kills, like my lightsaber as Vader.
Yeah.
And then he goes, this is not an exact quote, but he said something ridiculous. He was like, it didn't sound anything like James Earl Jones at all. And he goes, all will fall behind my lightsaber. And I just feel like that was made by people who aren't Star Wars fans that think they know what Vader is like.
Yeah.
And they're just like he would say these corny bad guy things.
Yeah, that sounds like something like my grandfather would think Vader would say.
That's what I'm saying.
As an evil bad guy.
Just port something in. You know, just give me a original James Earl Jones thing of him going, you know, you don't know the power of the dark side or something like that, and you know.
Did he actually do the voice acting? I don't know. Was it
you
actually
mean for
James
this game?
Earl Jones?
No, it's another actor completely.
Oh, wow.
It's like, did you ever play Star Wars Force Unleashed?
Yes.
That guy was a totally different actor.
Oh, isn't that Chad Vader or something like that?
I don't know.
It could be. That's his nickname. I don't know if
Chad Vader.
His last name is really not Vader. He's not that cool.
That would be. I'm Chad Vader, the voice actor for Darth Vader.
Yeah. Wow. That's minus 10 points right there. Even Star Wars Rebels got James Earl Jones to come back. So.
Yeah, I mean, not that that's really important because it's not a story game, which we'll get into that too.
Yeah,
a little bit, not too much, because I guess we decided that's not really fair. I guess right in the bat. So we covered. I like how we covered things we like, but we both managed to constantly bring in the negatives. It's hard not to.
It is very hard
when
not
you
to.
love so much.
And I think this portion is going to be probably the longest part of this podcasty video thing.
Yeah, so if you can't tell, that was positives.
that was the positives.
That was positives. Negatives. This was one you brought up when we were kind of coming up with the things we wanted to talk about. Content, the maps themselves, the game modes concern you a little bit.
Yeah. So to go into a little bit of detail with that, I kind of got the feel that I did when I first picked up Destiny, and I'm talking about the original Destiny, not the Taken King. So I got bored of that game within like maybe a week of playing it, and this game kind of feels like it could be the same. It feels kind of stale, and now granted, I know that we only have 3 battle modes playable, and that there's a ton more to actually come out with the full game.
Sure.
But just from what I played, with Drop Zone, Walker Assault, and Survival, I felt like if I had played any more than 4 hours of those game modes, I was bored.
Yeah, they're all a little half-baked. It feels like they're really leaning on, hey, this is Star Wars, everyone!
Yeah, definitely. I was just like, I have a feeling, that maybe once the initial Star Wars euphoria hits me and I'm playing it for a week straight, I have a feeling maybe after that week I'll start to get that fatigue. I don't know. Do you feel the same way about that?
Well, Taylor, you won't get fatigued with it. You know why you're not going to get fatigued with it?
Why is that?
Right off the bat? You're not going to be playing much more than an hour or two a week. Fallout comes out 7 days before Battlefront.
Oh, is that a Bethesda shill?
Boom!
Drop?
Boom! That game's got a story mode, goddammit.
That's true.
But I mean, that's the other thing too, is I'm playing Fallout, so I guess we can pop in Battlefront for an hour or two to break it up a little bit.
We can fit it in somewhere in the schedule. We'll book you in.
But I was constantly bringing in negatives when we were trying to talk positives. So I'll go the other way. I won't be your negative Nancy. I'll actually bring in a little positive, or at least it's not necessarily positive, but it's like a hopeful thing. Okay. So those 3 battle modes, they got old pretty quick. We both played it like 5-6 hours, maybe a little more.
Right.
And we were like, gosh, maybe add some buddies, play with, you and I.
Oh, yeah.
Make it more fun, but again, even that won't really last too long.
Yeah.
But there were a bunch of other modes there. Supremacy, I don't even remember.
Fighter Squadron.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. The dogfighting, that should be awesome.
I'm looking forward to that, definitely.
So there's some there is more content there. They were only giving us a taste.
It is a beta, yeah.
So, but I think the reason that we're worried about that, even knowing that there's other content we have yet to touch in there, is because the 3 modes that we got were so repetitive so fast. And I'm sorry, I don't remember all the names. So you had the Walker Assault was on Hoth. What was the one that was on Solus?
Drop Zone.
That was Drop Zone.
Right.
That was just a really straightforward deathmatch. It's just
was.
people, and then you go to the little. What was the name of that in Battlefield? That mode where you had to go. You had to go to the little. It was the same thing. Dominate. I don't remember. I'm sorry,
I didn't play a lot of Battlefield, so I wouldn't. Totally
it was the same thing. There was a little thing that had a timer on it, and you had to get there first
before the other team.
It would blow up. If it blow up, the other team got the point. If you stopped it from blowing up, it was the same thing. And there was the different points would continue to pop up, and you had to run back and forth between them and. It was okay.
If you know it, let us know in the comments.
What was that called, guys? I don't remember. It's been years since I played Battle. I didn't play that hardline crap.
No.
So we're definitely concerned with longevity of the content.
Agreed.
But you can spend $50 to get all the rest of those
content. Don't blow the load just yet. We still have to talk about that.
I jump ahead of myself. I can't help it. It's just so ridiculous. Okay. So this is the biggest topic, and DICE even came out and talked about this. So I think this is one thing they actually can fix.
Yes.
Is the balancing issues.
Yes.
Describe that for us.
So one thing I know as far as being a big Rebels fan goes is that, especially on Walker Assault,
Rebels go.
the win-loss ratio from Empires to Rebels is extremely skewed,
as it should be,
when it goes to the Empire, because there's the spawns. One thing I hated was the spawns.
They're broken.
Definitely,
they are broken.
Like, I remember the Empire would spawn behind me as the Rebels, and I would get shot from behind constantly. And granted, especially in that small space, there's not a whole lot of movement range because you're stuck between those two kind of mountains.
Right.
But yeah, just the spawns were really bad. It was unbalanced. Although I will give it to the game that I felt like a lot of my teammates weren't doing it for the objectives. They were just doing it to kill
fight. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably 80% of the time we lost was the reason, because people weren't actually doing the objectives. They were just going in it like it was a straight deathmatch.
Yeah, the game doesn't do a great job of prioritizing players to do the team objectives.
Yeah,
you really need to.
People would constantly be getting those orbital strikes, but they wouldn't use them on the walkers. They would use them on the individual soldiers.
Yeah, it was so...
And it's the whole point of getting the orbital strikes is so you could weaken the walkers and actually win the match.
They overestimated the intelligence of the average person by giving you a choice. As the Rebels, when you are able to hold on to those systems and keep the orbital strike online or whatever, it should just automatically hit the AT-AT, so that way that wouldn't happen. Because I noticed that happening a lot. You'd see the big lasers come and just hit the side of the hill and kill 3 snowtroopers. Okay, great job.
Yeah, the way to go. Thank you. You just got your non-existent beta kill score up. Congratulations.
I know. Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, I remember I saw people who were in ATSTs. That's chicken walkers for you
plebs,
filthy casual Star Wars fans. They would get in ATSTs and they would find this middle area where they could literally see almost every single Rebel spawn point and just walk from each one and just blast each spawn point. It would have and you would see. And this was not on PC where they had kill bot, they had bot problems, aiming bots. Yeah. This is on console. This is on Xbox, and I saw some stuff on PS4. People with 100+ kills on those Walker battles.
You're ridiculous. 100 kills, maybe 10 deaths.
Yeah, because they would just figure out where they were, and then they'd get in the ATST and blow everyone away until they eventually would die. Hop in a TIE fighter and just hover right around those areas and blow them all away. And you could just shoot. You don't have to look. It was bad. So that's one thing they will fix. They've already come out and be like, yeah, it's unbalanced. So that's good.
One thing I do want, kind of an off topic here.
That's fine.
Just because I've never asked you actually as a Star Wars fan. In your opinion, is it AT-AT or AT-AT?
I am, as an Imperial.
Okay.
It is an AT-AT.
Yes, I will totally agree with that. I get so annoyed when people say AT-AT. I don't know why.
Now, does anyone in the film ever say AT-AT? I think there's some rebel soldiers who are we've got 2 Imperial walkers. AT-AT's on the way. Because that's something you would say in the military over the radio. AT-AT's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to shorten it up.
Yeah, just quickly kind of say it. So I don't have any problem with its usage in certain context.
Yeah.
But people who think they're big Star Wars people are yeah, look at those AT-ATs, bro. No, dude, it's AT-AT.
Yeah,
it's an AT-AT.
Because you don't
AT-ATs and chicken walkers.
Because you don't call the other ones ATs.
ATs.
So
but that's because it doesn't work. So
granted, yeah.
That's why they call chicken walkers.
Yeah.
So
true.
So that's but that's a good question. No, I definitely have always said AT-AT.
Awesome.
So
we agree on that much.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So what is your again? This can't be a full opinion because we have not played the full game. We know we're missing Endor.
Yes.
Is there only one? Is there a different map on each planet for each game mode? Is that what it is? Because 4 planets, it scares me a little bit. That's not a lot of maps. Yeah. Unless they're having different maps.
It's the same map in different areas for different
game modes.
For different game modes, yeah. So you'll have Drop Zone on Hoth, for example.
And it'll be that same map?
Yes. And you'll also... Well, no. It'll be a different map, but it'll be on the same planet.
It'll still be on Hoth, but what I'm saying, what I'm worried about or not understanding is... Okay, imagine the Hoth battle, the Walker Assault map.
Right.
When we play Drop Zone, it's not going to be Drop Zone on the same map, right?
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That helps a little bit, because that was a concern. I was like, is this what we're getting? Are we really... This is it?
Yeah.
I was concerned about that a little bit.
Yeah. So you can sleep well tonight knowing that.
It still seems like there's... I mean, it's still not a lot of locales.
Yeah.
But I guess they just put so much detail into those.
I would honestly...
So pretty.
I would honestly rather have... Because what they're doing is they have 4 planets, but... Their excuse for that is like, well, there's different areas on the different planets to play.
And DLCs.
Yeah. And
wait for DLCs, guys.
Yeah, just wait for that.
Yeah.
Next month. But anyway, yeah, I would have honestly rather had like one map, but more planets, and maybe actually like prequel maps.
I'm okay with prequels.
Nudge.
I'm cool. I know a lot of people hate on the prequels, and I've got plenty of problems with the prequels myself. But I would still like to play with the clones and the droids, and that would be cool. I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
Playing in like
that's definitely
flying around those ARC fighters, and
that's definitely one of my overall negatives of the game. But we'll wait until the actual game comes out.
I feel like Disney is. That's more Disney than anyone else. Disney's like, yeah, these are canon. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's it, and they don't want to go back to it, even to the good parts of it. You know?
Right.
So. EA was probably told by Disney, don't do that. Just do... And this feels almost like... This does feel like Destiny. I like how you compared it to Destiny, because this feels like Destiny. They're coming out with this skeleton, getting people into it, and then they're going to rush a lot of content into it later and really fill it up and make it this big game. And maybe they will add prequel content, or maybe they'll add tons more maps and tons more game modes or something. Or, maybe they'll add a bunch of maps and maybe we'll get the New Order guys, the New Order stormtroopers versus like the New Republic troopers that we'll see in the films with the TIE fighters that now have like the red paint on them. Stuff. So we'll probably see stuff like that. They don't have to do a whole sequel for that.
Right.
I mean, I guess they might, but we'll see.
You never know with like EA at that point.
They're bringing Battlefront back. They want to see how many people want to play it, and 9 million fucking people downloaded the beta. So I think they know. They got their answer.
Yeah, they got a nice sample size. So
Any final thoughts, negatives, positive about the game? I can think of one right now, but anything you have right now that you didn't get to mention, didn't come up in your brain earlier?
No, I think we pretty much touched on everything from, the balance issues and the weird movements of the characters sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of I guess not small negative list, but a sizable one as far as just the beta goes. I'm sure once the full game comes out, we'll have an even bigger list as far as like positives and negatives go.
Mm-hmm.
But negatives, that was pretty much what I thought.
Yeah, I just feel like the main negative of the game is that for every positive I found a shadowing negative on every single one of them. There was never anything that was just outright, wow. As soon as you wow at it, you're like,
undeniably great.
Wow, that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's how I felt like I said that a lot during the game. Oh, how cool. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, things like that happened a lot for me. One little thing, I'm going to go really quickly, gameplay. Guns were great. Shooting was great. Only issue we had was that it's like a laser pointer. The lasers will travel infinite distance until they hit an object.
Yeah.
And in a perfect line. And people just, even with just the basic, like, rifle, E11 blaster rifle, or I can't remember the name of the Rebel one, from, like, all the way across the map are just sniping each other. Even with the basic combat rifles.
Yeah.
Because you can just and just go straight. I don't know. It was a problem for me. It was kind of a Battlefield thing where I'm running around and I just die. Then it shows you the person. There's like a tiny little rebel head. Like it's like 2 pixels, and they're like running back and forth. I was like, that's the guy who killed me.
Yeah.
And it was like with their regular rifle.
And then your first reaction is like, wow, good aim. But then you realize, oh wait, the gun blasts are just so super accurate.
Yeah. I mean, these are stormtroopers firing. They're not that accurate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not accurate to the movie.
See, I liked firing from my hip just as a stormtrooper and missing on purpose. I was like,
yeah,
I was like, fuck it, man, I'm a stormtrooper.
One thing about that, too, that I actually missed from the old Battlefront games, too, is that it seemed like in the old Battlefront games, when you just would spray constantly, your shots actually...
They started to get less accurate?
They went in other directions, so you actually had to do the burst fire, like, do-do-do, you know, like...
Right.
In order to actually be accurate. With these guns, I feel like you're just holding down the trigger, and with, like, the small recoil you have, you're able to shoot distances, like...
Yeah, it's weird.
Really far distances.
That's also something they could probably fix with a patch. They don't need to wait for a damn sequel to fix that, do they?
Yeah, no, not at all.
So, that's pretty much our impressions of the game, everyone. Thought we'd want to take over, just debate some little facts that came out after the beta. As we mentioned, 9 million people. Yeah. 9 million people downloaded this 7 gig beta to play it. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Star Wars is alive and really damn well now.
Extremely in demand. And you know what's funny about this game, too, is like I know a lot, and I mean a lot of Star Wars fans.
Yeah, you and me both.
But being a Star Wars fan and liking video games isn't mutually exclusive. So I knew a lot of people who weren't even into video games that were like, oh yeah, I'm playing the new Battlefront when it comes out. I'm getting it day one.
They're going to buy a console for it or whatever, you know.
Like, I know a lot of people who, you know, are a lot older, maybe like in their 40s, who are just like, yeah, I don't really play video games a lot, but this just looks fucking awesome.
My dad would freak out over that. My dad would love to play that.
Which is awesome. See, they've tapped this market of like mass like Star Wars fans that just come from all walks, as far as like, you know, I only watch the original movies, or I'm only a prequel fan. They have this whole generation covered as far as this video game goes. It's amazing, really.
It really is. Power of Star Wars, you know?
Yeah.
That's it right there.
Which only furthers my prediction that this episode 7, when it comes out, is going to break records.
Oh, easy. Easily.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. I'm not even... goodbye, Avatar.
Yeah.
And it's gone. That Avatar
Jurassic
is
World.
Yeah. Those are... Yeah. And it'll be much better movies than both of those. Star Wars will be a lot better.
I think so.
I don't know why. I just talked about my dad, and I can totally see him playing it. He'd be terrible, but he'd be running around the Hoth going, Papa needs a new pair of shoes! Yeah. He says when he plays Halo. So, I love you, Dad. Okay. Other thing. No private matches. So, basically, you can't go get a ton of your friends against a ton of your friends and go into a private room with, 24 people and battle it out. Does that matter to you at all?
No. I mean, but it's kind of one of those things that, like, be nice to have it either way.
Just to have it there. I mean, is it really that hard?
Yeah.
Again, I don't even know if I'd ever use that feature.
Yeah,
but the fact they came out and they're like, we're not going to have this. It's like, what the fuck? Just don't. Why are you even saying that?
Yeah, I don't even know if I have 20 friends.
I don't even. I can't get more than one of you fuckers to play Destiny with me. So.
True.
And then the only other thing in this little category is this wonderful season pass. I can remember the article. Here's what the article said: for $50, you get DLC. That would normally they get them for $10 a piece. So 5 DLCs, $10 a piece. There'll be 15 if you buy them a la carte. So if you buy them one at a time.
Jeez.
No release date. No content detail. At all.
Wow.
Nothing. $50, please.
It's funny that it really shows where they have their, mindset when they're able to discuss the payment plan for these things, but they don't actually explain what the details are of what actually makes it a game. Is
that a first? I feel like season passes, at least. I mean, I'm not a big fan of season passes, obviously, but they usually I was looking at Assassin's Creed Syndicate has a season pass, and it's got some stuff that I wish was just in the game.
Right.
But it's telling me what I'm getting. You're getting the Jack the Ripper missions, and there's a bunch of other content. They've come out with all the content that will be released.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even going to tell me what I'm buying for $50. I don't know. Just buy it. It's Star Wars.
Yeah. It seems like that's definitely been their moniker as far as selling this game goes is, well, fuck you, it's Star Wars. You'll buy it anyway.
Yeah. That's
to quote South Park.
Yeah. No, truly. Thanks for spitting on my arm, Taylor. Good job.
Sorry about that.
Well, I think that pretty much covers it. Just the fact that it's going to be huge because we just spent like 40 minutes talking about a beta.
Yeah. Well, it also just shows how much of giant Star Wars nerds we
are. Absolutely. We're huge Star Wars nerds. And obviously anyone listening in on 38 minutes and 25 seconds are big Star Wars nerds too.
Yeah.
Or you're one of our friends, or you
just like listening to the soft sounds of our voices.
Damn straight. Or you have no life.
Well, either one, we welcome all.
Yes. That's what I always open my videos with, is welcome all. Okay, I'm going to end this video in just a little bit. Hey, we've got more content coming out on ZeroHp. I am working on my Dead Space my playthrough right now, my Let's Play. Maybe Taylor might join me on an episode. That'd be fun. We could do that. And Taylor, do you have anything at all coming up? Do you know anything coming up right now? I know you don't want to give too much away, but...
Yeah, well, I'll give a couple things away just because, hey. But actually, me and Jimmy from ZeroHp as well, since I am also now on ZeroHp.
You are?
Yes, we are working on a Let's Play of our own. I won't spill the details on what game we're playing yet, because I kind of want it to be a little bit of a surprise, but it should be fun. It'll be a blast from the past. I'll leave it at that. But other than that, I'm actually planning on soon doing a Star Wars podcast.
Can I be on that, Taylor?
Yeah, no, you are going to be my first guest, more than likely. So
I'll be your fucking co-host, man.
Yeah. We'll
Star Wars right now.
That'll be fun.
Here I'm just taking over his show. Move over, goddammit!
Yeah, I know, right? But that'll be fun. That's going to be in anticipation for episode 7. And then, when episode 7 drops, because we're all going to go see it when it comes out midnight release,
right.
We will have a review of our own for there. So keep on the lookout for that. Go ahead and like us over on the Facebook page, and I'll link that for whenever we get started. So stay tuned, people.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining on this episode of The Experience Point. We want to hear your thoughts about the beta. We want to hear your thoughts about the game coming out. We are about to fall into the precipice that is the holiday gaming schedule. Assassin's Creed Syndicate's coming out on October 23rd. Halo 5 is coming out on October 27th.
And the big one,
Fallout 4 is coming out on November 10th. Star Wars Battlefront's coming out on November 17th. Oh, also on November 10th, Tomb Raider. The Rise of the Tomb Raider. I'm a huge fan of that new series. So lots of stuff to come out, lots of stuff to talk about. Madden review coming soon, another Experience Point, probably before Assassin's Creed comes out. So that's everything that's on the slate. Once again, thank you so much for joining us here. Any final words for any of our wonderful listeners here, Taylor?
I love you, and stay beautiful out there.
Stay beautiful. That's beautiful. That's so amazing. All right. Later, guys.
Testing. There's the waveform. Captain, we found the waveform.
I don't know why that's my testing sound.
That's great.